Ni hao, students. Today we're going to talk about order of operations, aka also known as PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, roots, absolute value, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. This is our order. We're always going to go from left to right. Okay? Now, the first problem here, well, obviously we have parentheses. That's our first order of business. Now, we want to figure out what to do, of course, within the parentheses. And we have subtraction and division. Well, since division becomes before subtraction, that's what we have to do. So let's just get started. So we have 25 minus 18 divided by 3 is 6. I'll even keep the parentheses, and here's our exponent. So the next thing we have to do is our subtraction within the parentheses. So I will do that, and I will get 19, and we have our exponent. The last step, of course, is to do the exponent. 19 times 19 is 361. Bam. We are done. So, very important, following from left to right. Let's keep on moving on. So, the next problem. We have a lot going on here. We're going to have to take our time with this. We do have parentheses, and that's what we have to do first. Within the parentheses, we will always do exponents, roots, or absolute value first. So the absolute value here, this is absolute value in case you were wondering what this is, right? That is absolute value. And a quick refresher, the absolute value is just how far a number is from 0. It's the distance from 0. Distance can never be negative. So that's the idea. From -2 to 0, there are 2 units. It's the distance. They'll always be positive. So, all right. 2 plus 5 will simplify is 7 to the second power. And I'll actually do this right now. Here we have a negative sign outside of the root. And in that case, we have to do this root first, and we just carry the negative sign with the root. So square root of 100 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. And then down here on the bottom, I'll just rewrite this for now. So, moving on, 7 to the second power is 49. Beautiful. And we have -10 up top. And down here, I'll even write it over here, we have this -1 to the third power. There are no parentheses around this 1. So remember, what you have to do when you have something like this, the exponent is attached to the number. The negative sign is out front. So when we do this, we are really thinking about -1. Okay, that negative is out there, and then we have to do 1 times 1 times 1, 3 times. In the end, it actually works out pretty simple because it's just a 1, right? And we get our answer of -1 here. So I'll write that. Now, to finish it off, we have 49 plus negative divided by negative is positive. 10 divided by 1 is 10, and we get 59 as our answer. So there we go. You just have to take your time. Be very, very, very careful with these negative signs, though. Okay? All right, moving on to our last problem. This one is a little bit difficult, but like I said, take your time. Starting from the left, going to the right, always. In this case, we have our parentheses, so let's get started with that. Within the parentheses, we have a root. Within the root, this is where we have to start. We always want to try to simplify what's in the root first. So I'm going to kind of rewrite this. We have a negative. Here's our root. We have 5 to the second power is 25 minus 9. That's how we'll get started. And then over here we have 2 and 8. But maybe I see something. So let's take a look within this root. Is there any way to simplify what we have here? Well, absolutely. I'm just going to write this fraction. Remember, we can simplify 2 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. So that gives us 1/4. So let's actually just rewrite it like this. 1/4. Perfect. All right. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to have 25 minus 9, and that's going to give us 16. And over here, we have root of 1/4. Now, hopefully you remember this. You can break roots into 2 parts, the numerator and denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this root as the square root of 1 and the square root of 4. Wow, life might get a lot easier for us. Now, when we have a square root of 16, All right, we're going to do this. We're going to leave it inside the parentheses. Parentheses come first, so we have a 4 here, and we have to the second power. And then over here, the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm kind of working on these as we go, both of them as we go. Now from here, we have the negative sign is out front. But remember, what we have to think about first is the parentheses, okay? And then we have to do our exponents. So that's what we're going to do. But we are going to leave that negative sign out front. It is not associated with this exponent. These two, the base and exponent, go together. The negative sign just follows it along. So here we get 16 plus 1/2. Now this can be tricky for people. We have negative 16 plus 1/2. You can think about this many different ways. You can think about it as negative 16 plus maybe 0.5. That's another way of doing it. But regardless of how you do this, remember you have a negative and a positive. When we solve these types of problems, you have to think about what number is bigger. So the bigger number in this case is the 16. So we know that our answer will be negative, and then we subtract them. So 16 minus 0.5. Well, I'll add the decimal, and I'll add a 0 here, and we get 15.5. So in the end, our answer would be negative 15.5. So there's a lot going on in this problem. You just have to take your time, okay? When you have two pieces like this, you can kind of work on them together. And it's very important if you can simplify something like I did here, simplify the numbers. Makes life so much easier.